knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. Aristotle. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of Anon Ki Paathshaala, season 3. I am Yuvika Masan from Kamla Nehru College, University of Delhi, and ECLF at Anon Global Foundation. And of course, your host for tonight, joined by my amazing co host, Garbita.
Namaste Sabiko. I am Garvita from Aravali International School, an intern from the Performing Arts team at Anon Global Foundation.
Tonight, we shift the lens inward. And with that, we welcome you all to episode 4, The Mirror Within, exploring self awareness for empowerment, a session dedicated to reflecting, realigning, and rising.
जैसा कि कहते हैं, जब तक हम खुद से नहीं मिले, दुनिया को समझना मुश्किल. Tonight's journey is all about that very mirror, self-awareness. So get ready to dive deep into the world within you, because that's where all true empowerment begins.
Let's begin this episode with open minds, open hearts, because when we look inward, that's when the real transformation begins.
दोस्तों, let's be honest, हम सब कभी ना कभी खुद से कंफ्यूज हुए हैं. मैं ऐसा क्यों सोचता हूँ? मुझ में कॉन्फिडेंस क्यों नहीं है? मुझे चाहिए क्या जिंदगी से? आज का सेशन इन्हीं क्वेश्चंस के जवाब ढूंढने का एक एफर्ट है. And to help us with that journey, let's give a warm welcome to tonight's speaker, Dr. Tripti Pandey ma'am.
Dr. Tripti Pandey ma'am is not just a life coach, but she's a mirror for those who have lost sight of themselves. As an expert in neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, she has guided hundreds in unlocking their mind's potential. Her work revolves around emotional healing, personal growth, and above all, self-awareness.
He believes that when we stop looking outside for validation and start exploring the world inside us, we find clarity, power, and peace. And today, she is here to help us take that very step inward. The virtual stage is all yours, ma'am. Over to you.
Thanks a lot, Yuvika and Garvita, for being the host tonight and such kind words. I would like to start with a little gratitude for Shami ma'am and Dr. Aarti ma'am for inviting me to this great session and having a one-to-one chance to meet all the great people around. So that's truly enlightening, and we hope that we all go back with some deeper insight about ourselves. As we said, as ma'am said, that Swadhyay is the most important thing. It has always been, not just in today's generation, but yes, always. So let's begin with our journey and the mirror within. So we all are very fond of looking into the mirror. We want to look the best. But what we look into is a reflection of yourself, but that's only partially reflecting yourself. So the real mirror, the real aspect of your personality is the inside. So today we will be discussing and finding deeper knowledge about what's there inside. So when we talk about knowing ourselves, let's begin with the first question for the evening. Do we really know ourselves? So let's begin with a poll. And the question for the poll is that, do you really think that you truly know yourself? Great. As the poll indicates, that many of us are confused whether what aspect we know about ourselves. We may or may not know the true self. And I'm very happy that many of you are very confident about yourself, that yes, I am truly aware of myself. For everyone, even the people who said no, no worries. Probably this is the session where we'll know the deeper inside, what is inside us and what's there, what are our true value system and all. So let's move further. And there are various aspects of yourself which you may or may not be knowing. So basically, when we talk about self-awareness, it is, what are your values? What are your feelings? What do you think? And what are the basic motive for your actions? Thinking is basically a system where your brain is used. You think from your mind. Feelings are more about your heart. You feel from your heart. The emotions come from within. So, how does it helps us? It helps us in making better decision making. When we know ourselves truly, then we can align with our true value system and goals. When we know ourselves better, we can always have stronger relationship. So when we know ourselves better, we can know our flaws, we can know the areas of improvement. And when we know that, probably we can have a better understanding of ourselves and our relationship with others. When we are in control over our emotion and thoughts, definitely we have more strength to perceive the environment in a positive way. We can know what triggers our emotion. And when we know what triggers, we can always work on them. We can always do something where we can calm down in case if they are hyper emotion. We can control our reactions, basically. Uh, when we know ourselves better, we can always have a little more resilience towards ourselves and others. We can navigate the challenges and setback and not sit and feel regretful. We can always step up and say, okay, this time I'll do better. I'll do it in a different way. Probably that's why I did not succeed this time. But next time, definitely I'm going to succeed. And when we know all these aspects, we know our authentic self. And when we know about authentic self, there is no pressure from anyone. We don't worry about what people think about you, what the social media talks about you. These days, a lot of youngsters specifically have a lot of pressure from outside. What do my friend talk about me? What does the social media, what's trending, and I'm not following that trend. So probably I'm left behind. And that causes a lot of anxiety and other aspects. There are a lot of expectations, academic expectations, career expectations, personality wise, people want us to behave in a particular way. So all those expectations, when we know ourselves better, definitely we can work upon our personality so that we can succeed, not only just in career or academics, but on becoming the better version of ourselves. So let's begin with how to know about ourselves. Let's move further. Let's have an activity. So I want all of you to grab a pen and paper and write down one word that describes what you're feeling right now. You could write anything exactly what you're feeling right now. It could be anything right from excitement, being aware, peaceful, joyful, curious, tired, bored, anything. Next question is, all of us have certain strengths which we are aware of and which we're proud of. So right now, just mention one strength. I know there are many more. Just write one strength which you possess and you're really proud about yourself. Then we can always flexible, open to other views. Wonderful. That's a very, very good quality. When we say, let's talk about one passion, although you might be having a lot of things to do. Let's talk about one passion, one thing we are very passionate about. It could be in terms of goal, maybe a career or an academic goal, what you want to become, what you want to do in the near future, long-term, short-term goal, or it could be one of the skills you want to acquire. All of us are passionate about something, the most important priority which we want to take care of. Working to achieve my goal, learning new things, learning new skills. Yes. So we've set the stage to move further. So let's move further to the next. As we say that mirror has two sides. Yes, mirror has two sides and it tells about two parts of our personality, the internal version and the external version. Internal versions, generally we overlook, or rather we are not even aware. So they talk about, they express your value system, what you thought, what you think, what are your feelings, your passions, your aspiration, as you just mentioned right now in the previous slide. So the internal version talks about what you want to acquire in terms of goal, career, skills, the priorities in life, the ideal self, what you want to become, how you fit within your environment, how are your reactions, what triggers you. So you are we say that you are your best friend. So we spend the most longer time we spend with ourselves. We talk to ourselves all the time. That chatterbox never stops. You're talking to ourselves even if when we are quite around. What kind of conversation you love to have with yourself? Generally, if you start introspecting, either they are positive conversation or mostly they are a negative conversation. We are kind of always criticizing ourselves. I did not do it very well. Oh, that's my life is not going great, and mental. So generally, when we the kind of conversation we have, talk a lot about our inner self. And the other part of the mirror talks about the external self, how others perceive you, how others view you, and your blind spot. We'll discuss about the blind spot in a while. So let's move further and probably we'll be able to find out the internal and the external aspect. Internal aspect talks about what are your thoughts. I just mentioned thoughts come from your mind, what we think. The feelings come from within your heart. What do you feel? What triggers in the environment? What there in the environment which makes you, gives that thought? And that thought brings those feelings, those emotions. It could be positive, they could be negative. You could feel angry with seeing something or someone. You could feel anxious. The exam always gives anxiety to all of us. We can feel confident if you prepared things very well. We can be excited many a time for what's coming next, curious. We could be sad and we could also feel hurt sometimes when people and situation go against us, we can feel. In adverse situation, we can always show various kind of feelings and emotion. They're all part of our personality. So there's nothing called right and wrong emotion. They're all emotion and they all make us what we are right now. Then very important, the thoughts and feelings are driven by our value system. What is our core value? What truly matters to you? Why do you behave the way you do? What are your strengths and weaknesses? I don't prefer calling them weaknesses. I have another version. It says areas of growth, areas of improvement, because there's always a chance to undo or rather modify those so-called weaknesses. So I hate calling them weaknesses because then there's a negative notion to it. So I always try calling them areas of growth because you can always become a better person by overcoming all your flaws. So what are your strengths and weaknesses? And exactly what is the motive behind acting that way, or for your actions, for your feelings, for your behavior. For example, when we see someone, a stranger, and we try go and help him or her, you don't know that person at all. But still, what was the motive behind helping that person? That is, that defines your core value system. We will be going deeper into that part. Let's move further. The other part of the mirror talks about the external reflection, what we generally see. Generally, when we see in the mirror, we generally want to see the best version of ourselves. How do we look? And is my hair all right? Am I looking fine? Oh, that pimple or the acne is spoiling my overall persona. Is this dress matches to my personality? And definitely a lot of other things what we think. And many times we want to watch the mirror to see that we are the best. But this reflection is not just our perception, it's others' perception about ourselves. Because many a time, what we feel or what we think may not be resonating with what others think about ourselves. For example, um, we can always say that I remember an incident. I was principal in one of the schools, and while I was busy with some important work, and any teacher would come to my office, and I would just show her or him this kind of a gesture, which meant just give me with 5 minutes, and I'll come back to you. And I would, after 5 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever the time it took, and I used to call that teacher and discuss whatever was to be done. I did not realize this gesture of mine till the time there was a farewell when I was leaving the school. And we were just discussing about the time I have been there. And a lot of teachers talked about, ma'am, we really liked and we really remember you for this. And I did not even notice that. again, we had such a kind of a very interesting incident where during the Teachers' Day, when some children enacted like teachers on stage, and when they were enacting, they were imbibing the qualities, the persona of the teacher, would burst out in laughter. Oh, I never know. I did not know that I was making that gesture again and again. I would use that word so often during the class. That's part of my personality I did not even know about. So here we are talking about what others perceive us as. And that helps us in knowing the blind spot. While we'll discuss, let's go to the next slide and next forward. So we'll have this activity and will help us in knowing more about ourselves. Just keep thinking about, if at all, if you want one thing you hope people understand about you. For example, I'll give you a simple example so that you can understand what I mean to say. For example, sometime we say that, oh, my volume was a little loud while I was talking to the elders, teachers, or parents, or anybody around, or even with friends. My volume might be loud, but I did not mean to disrespect. So, what you mean and what you want others to know about you, what you want others hope that people understood about me. For example, I am very creative. I don't speak much in the class or maybe in a group, but I have a lot of ideas. I wish people knew about it. Or I may be a very shy person, but I like talking to a lot of people. It's just because I'm a little underconfident. I am not very sure about myself. Think of another one thing which you worry people misunderstand about you. A lot of problems arise due to misunderstanding between two people. And we did not mean to do that, but people perceived in a different way. That's what it happens most of the time. For example, as I said, I may be a very shy person. I'm a very shy person, but probably people perceive me as being arrogant. So I wish people know that I'm not arrogant. It's just that I'm not able to speak much. And there would be something which you want that I do not want to be misunderstood on this aspect. And if you can think about, it'll help you in making yourself clear that probably your motive and your actions don't match. There's a gap between the two. And if you find out the gap and you can work on those gaps, probably what you want to do, your outer reflection will reflect. Okay, let's move further and let's find out other aspects. Let's hold the mirror to find out the inner version of yourself. So when we talk about tools of self-exploration, let's find out how to introspect. So, and introspection is the first step towards self-realization, self-awareness. So when we know what's within us, then only we can work upon it, then only we can improve upon it in case it is something which we want to change. So let's hold the mirror within and let's try reflecting to the inner version of yourself. Try reflecting. If you think that you are not an arrogant person and you did not mean to disrespect others while your volume was loud, you have to check that whether my outer expression resonating with my inner self. Probably not. And because of that gap, there was this misunderstanding. There was this aura which I created in the environment, and I do not like it. So when you do that, definitely the act of examining one's own thoughts and feelings, it helps us to know that what all areas I can improve upon, what all areas I need to work upon. And that introspection definitely helps us. So you can reflect upon your experiences. What happened during that time? Why did I argue? Why did I show my anger? Why was I not? Why did I fidget during that on stage while I was performing? And I do not know exactly what happened. So while you know that, you can always adjust the mirror. You're like the way you adjust the mirror to see yourself fully into the mirror. and you adjust you do your hairstyle or your dress to look the best. Let's adjust our mirror to our inner self so that it aligns with your inner self. And what we mean inside, we show it in actions outside. So when we're able to relate to them, probably we will be able to be perceived the way we want to be by others. So let's find out how to do that. It seems to be a little difficult. How do we know about ourselves? And I think I know. Like a lot of people mentioned that I know about myself. So what is that? I do not know. So let's find out how can we do that. Let's move further. The first tool for self reflection and exploration is journaling. Journaling reminds us, rather, you people, about the English classes where you wrote daily diary entry, something like that, but not exactly like that. Uh, Journaling could be your true, unjudgmental expression of the day or maybe a week. So, at your age, you may not be able to put your expressions into writing every day, but maybe 2, 3 days or maybe a week. That would be the best thing if you can write. For example, we it's the way to connect to your inner self, because while we journal, we are true to ourselves. कहते हैं ना कि जब सब लोग देख रहे हैं, we are best. We show that we are best. But जब कोई नहीं देख रहा है, तो we know that we can be whatever we want to be. But you must realize that when nobody is watching you, you are true to yourself. You might show a lot of confidence in front of others, but when you are all alone, you might realize that I was fidgeting. I was so nervous while I was on stage. During examination, I was not able to think clearly. So you know yourself better than anyone else. So just record your emotional and mental landscape. When you write down, you can always write down the patterns and triggers that affect your reaction. Many a time we do not realize otherwise something happened in the environment, and that's why I lashed out. I reacted the way I do. But when you sit quietly, calmly, and that's the time you realize that probably the environment was not that bad. My reactions was not the way my true personality is. So when you do that, probably you can know more about yourself. You can know what triggers you. Every time I see that person or that situation comes in front of my eyes, and I react, I get angry, I get nervous, and or I get hurt or sad or whatever it is. So generally, if you write down, you can identify patterns and triggers, and they help us to know the areas where we need to grow. If I get triggered by someone's reaction and I show anger, I get annoyed all the time, then I need to work upon how to manage the situation without showing my anger. What journaling helps us. It also provides a safe space for raw, honest expression, where when nobody is judging you, you can write whatever comes to your mind. Since it's your private journaling, you can be writing whatever without even thinking this is right or this is wrong. Because when you write your raw expression, then only you can find out areas of the gray areas, the blind spots, where you think that people think that I am arrogant, but probably I behaved in a way that gave that misunderstanding to others. Can you move forward, please? Next, another way of doing so is mindfulness and meditation. You've heard of these words so much. Everybody these days talks about being mindful, doing meditation, and they look like very, very hi-fi kind of words. But let me tell you, they are not. Mindfulness simply talks about being present in the moment. When you're there in a moment, being there. I keep telling this aspect a lot of time in my class when children are there in the class and they say, when I can see that this so and so student is not actually there in the class. So I say, are you mentally present? So mindfulness is being wherever you actually physically are, feeling what's happening around, perceiving the environment, and then your actions are in sync with what's happening around. So when you know that we are there in the moment, probably then we know how to control our emotions. Because when we are somewhere else, when we think, I'm sure when you are there in the class, your mind wanders, maybe in the canteen, maybe in the games, or maybe somewhere else. So it happens a lot with younger generation, and rather myself also. So mindfulness is basically being present, being aware what's happening outside as well as what's happening inside. Am I actually listening to what's being told to me? Am I actually understanding? मैम पढ़ा तो रही हैं पर कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा, ऊपर से जा रहा है. So that is what I'm discussing. Mindfulness is me thinking about what's happening right now, inside and outside. And when we talk about meditation, meditation doesn't require to sit in yoga pose and do meditation for half an hour or so, not at all. Meditation simply means to calm down your mind. You'll be surprised if you know that our mind creates around 45 thoughts per minute. That makes up around 60,000 thoughts per day. So many. Imagine. Our mind flickers so much. We keep on thinking, right moment. In one moment, we are here, and another moment, we're somewhere else. In our mind, in our thoughts, in our feelings. So when we have such short duration of a thought, hardly anything stays in. So mindfulness is simply calming down your mind, uh, thinking about reducing the number of thoughts. It's not that easy. Just reduce the reactivity and foster a sense of calm. This situation triggers every time I see such a person or a situation, I get alarmed, I get annoyed. So you know your pattern. So when you know this time I'm going to not lash out, I'll keep quiet. I'll think about it and then I'm going to react. If you can do that, of course, then that's called meditation. So you can calm down your mind. It develops a non-judgmental stance towards oneself. When you know that, instead of why didn't you call up? If you tell a friend, why didn't you call up? If you can say, I was waiting for you. The message is the same, but the impact is absolutely different. So in one way, you were so eager, you were kind of annoyed with your friend. And next, the second sentence when you use, I was waiting for you, shows a little care that I was waiting for you, you did not call up. So the sentence remains the same, but the effect it has on us and on others is different. So that's what meditation and mindfulness do. If we can do that, of course, we can control, we can manage a lot of our emotions and a lot of our reactions, which we might regret later on. We often regret a lot of things we say to others, a lot of actions which we do, and then we can't undo them. So if we can, before reacting, before lashing out, before showing anxiety, if we can do that, I'm sure it can help us in calming down and it can improve our personality. Let's move further. And another time for another activity. Let's think about something which has happened very recently. Think about the last time you had this strong, very strong emotion. Strong emotion here I'm talking about, it could be anything, right from anger, frustration, excitement, overjoy, sadness, anything. Just think about it. Just keep it in your mind. If you have, can you name it specifically? Generally, the term which we all of us use is I felt bad. I did great. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Generally, we use a quarrel. Very good. Of course, there are situations where we think that we can't control. We feel guilty. We feel jealous. Of course. And I'm sure it makes us a human being. So don't feel bad about having such emotional outburst. No problem, not at all. It makes us more human. If we're making mistakes, it's not wrong. It makes us more human. It's just that how we have to cope up with the emotion outburst, that's we have to handle. Now, let's go deeper into that emotion. When you felt that emotion, where did it exactly feel it in the body? In the head? Because sometimes, I'll give you a simple example again. When we are stressed, we have a headache. So it means basically in the head part. When we are overwhelmed, we feel it in the heart. When we are very happy or when we are crying, we feel more in the heart. Or haven't you heard of that phrase, butterflies in the stomach before examination? In the stomach, yes, exactly. So just think about where that emotion actually hit you. In the head, mind basically, or in the heart. Okay, head and heart both. Yes, it can also happen. In the palm, yes, you get sweaty palms sometime due to a reaction. I was very angry and my eyes were red and my palms were sweating. Yes, before the examination, I was trembling. It could be the whole body as also. Just think about which part of the body it actually created that reaction. Okay. Now I wanted to go deeper into it. Can you think of what triggered that situation? Not situation, but your reaction basically. What triggered your reaction? Like if you felt jealous, or you mentioned about guilty or annoyed, hurt. What was the trigger? Just think about it. Patterns. Oh, repeated patterns. I don't like same thing happening. Oh, at home or places. Growing age changes, of course. Harshita, yes. Adolescence brings a lot of turns and turmoils, internal and outside. Okay. Generally, what we do is we blame. It's part of our defense mechanism in part of psychology. When we talk about, we want to be playing safe. We never want to be blamed. So whenever we show our reactions, extreme ones, specifically extreme ones, we want to find out somebody else to take the blame or some situation. So for whatever wrong or whatever mistakes we do, we forgive ourselves very easily, and in a way it's a good thing. We'll discuss that a little later. So when we say that we sometimes blame others for our not mistakes, our reactions. Of course, there are triggers in the environment. There are people around who make you react the way you do, but it's mostly how I react, how I perceived the environment. People have no power, or situation have no power if we do not want to react the way we do. For example, I was discussing uh, there was a general discussion going on, and suddenly somebody said something which hurt, and that's how I reacted that way. So probably it's not it definitely it is somebody's hurtful voices, hurtful comments, but I took it too personally. That is why I reacted that way. So definitely external factors do affect our reaction, but not much. It is the way we are not able to manage that emotion. If I lashed out, if I showed my anger, probably I'm not able to manage my anger very well. And that's the reason I was annoyed. I argued, my voice became loud. I was fearful because the situation, it was very dark. It was some stranger tried approaching me, and I was scared. So definitely there are people and there are situations around, but how we manage our emotions, that makes us. I was very confident, but the moment I saw other speakers speaking on the stage, I lost all my confidence. So it's not the other speaker who made you feel underconfident. Probably you did not, you started doubting yourself. So that's the way, that's the reason you felt that way. So let's move further. Let's find out uh, how to do that. Let's gain external perspective as well. We are our best friend, as we just discussed a little while ago, of course. But we need to look at what others perceive about us, and we need to have a kind of absolutely correct, positive or negative feedback from others. Not from others, which I mean to say everyone else. No, not at all. These days, let me tell you what we actually seek uh, feedback from is social media. कितने लाइक मिले मेरी पिक्चर को, मेरी रील को, एंड दैट्स हाउ वी judge our popularity. Nobody saw my picture, nobody commented on it, and we think we are not good enough. I was not looking good enough. And imagine you are the same person, and when you are the same person, how can others judge you that the way you do? Not at all. So you look for someone very trusted. It could be friend, it could be family, it could be mentors or teachers, or somebody who can give you an honest feedback. And when I say honest, it has to be a positive as a negative feedback. You should be open to that as well. And ask them, you tell me, you generally, we know about our strengths. We just had an activity. You wrote about your strengths. Yes, of course, you know about your strengths. But let us see uh, what I think is my strength. Is it actually my strength? I might be thinking that I'm a very confident speaker, but my very dear friend told me that while I was speaking on the stage, I was fidgeting. My hands were moving, or my legs were trembling. I was blinking too much. So probably you might be thinking that I am a great speaker. Of course, it's good to think about it, but probably if somebody can tell you that you need to work upon that part of your personality, definitely it's going to help you out. So ask someone, what are my strengths? I know my strength, but let me ask from you, what do you think are my strengths? I might feel I'm great at it, but do other people also feel that way? I might think that I am a great sports person. I am a great cricketer or a footballer or whatever sports you play. But do others also feel that way? And that probably that will give you a little insight about your own capabilities and your own inner versions or a part of your personality which you are even unaware of. Those blind spot I was mentioning. So do ask them, how do I come across when I'm stressed? I'm stressed right now, but I don't know how to manage it. Uh, all I think is I am not able to think at all. So probably then you can always ask someone who can actually give you a good, right kind of advice or suggestion. And you can always listen openly when somebody gives you suggestion or a feedback. Be very positive about it, because what we actually do is we are not open to suggestions at all. मुझे पता है मैं कैसा हूँ, मुझे जानने की जरूरत नहीं है. And this arrogance definitely doesn't lead us anyway. So when we are seeking feedback, we should be open to both positive as well as negative feedback. And negative feedback probably you can use it as areas of again improvement. You can work upon those part of your personality, those blind spots which you might not be able to perceive in yourself, but others do look at yourself. So probably that's the best way. Honest feedback can help you in becoming absolutely a little better person who you are. Let's move further. When we talk about navigating the shadows in the mirror, basically look at those blind spots which others feel about you, which you are not able to look into yourself, and self-deception. It could be something like, I always want to make an excuse. I'm just browsing social media just for update. I'm not addicted to it. Or I'm not using my phone very often. I only use it for studying and gaining knowledge. Are we true to ourselves? Probably not. Or I'll take a short break and then I'll focus. I'll start exercising. I'll start this study habit from tomorrow. So basically, procrastination comes here. So when we do so, definitely we are not being true to ourselves. So that is how we need to embrace the discomfort. If somebody talks about a little negative about us, we should not get very worried. Yes, we have to note down that part of our personality. Yes, if a lot of people think about us in this way, definitely it needs introspection. Definitely, I need to work on this part of my personality because I might be thinking that I'm good at it, but not others are feeling that way. Be open to different perspective. You can have your own perspective, but be open to others' perspective as well. Other people might be thinking about you in a different way, a different version of you, probably. And then, as I said, it's okay to make mistakes. Be a little self-compassionate. Don't be too harsh on yourself. Many a time we become too critic, of the best critic of ourselves. It's good to know that you faltered, but it's always okay to say, okay, I will not repeat that next time. So make the mistakes as the stepping stones, the ladder to move up. So when you know your mistake and when you actually confront them, then you can always work on not to repeat that mistake in the future. So it's basically okay. Uh, I did not wake up in the morning, but definitely I'll put an alarm, I'll put a timetable, and I'll follow it. Absolutely, many things happening, of course. Let's move further. How else we can help? Yes, now comes the link and the sinking. If you're aware of ourselves, that has to be a stepping stone for self-empowerment. And so when you know insight, let's put it into action. So when we know our strength and areas of improvement, let's make conscious choices. Let's make choices which truly resonate with our value system, not the circumstances. I did not want to do certain things, but my peers forced me to do. Many times children say so. I did not like it, but since everybody was behaving in a way, or that the trend was happening, I also did it. I did not like it at all, but still I had to, because I had to be in that peer group. So when things don't resonate with your true self, you're always uncomfortable. So make conscious choices which actually link or sync with your inner self. Set boundaries, and very clear boundaries. You should know your limits. You should know the comfortable areas and uncomfortable areas. What makes you a little uncomfortable? You can always set boundaries, so that you can always think about, this is healthy and this unhealthy for me. It could be anything, like the way you react, the way you show your exhibit your emotions, whatever it is. You can always set boundaries, because I know this happens every time, and the moment this situation arises, I lash out, I show my anger, I get curious, uh, I rather anxious, I get hurt. So you can always set boundaries. I am not going to step further, so that this situation doesn't arise next time. Be authentic expression. Be a little more confident in expressing your true self to yourself. And your whatever you do, the way you behave, the way you feel, it should have a purpose, and it should align with your inner core values. What So that it can help you in moving further with positivity rather than having regrets. You can always talk about, yes, I felt a little hurt, I felt a little anxious, I felt a little annoyed because of the situation, but now I know that I'm not going to behave the same way next time, because I'm a little more in control with uh, on myself. I know how to deal with it. That's going to help. Let's move further. Bouncing back stronger when you already know what's triggering, what are the triggers, what are the patterns where you show unhealthy reactions. You can always regulate your emotions very well. So when we know emotional patterns, we can choose the one which manages stress, anxiety, frustration effectively. We can always know that if this situation always makes us anxious, we can change the situation, if at all, or otherwise we can change the reaction to it, so that we don't feel the way we are. Choose coping healthy mechanisms, healthy ones, where we can cope in a better way, so that we don't hurt ourselves again and again, and we can reflect upon our failures by learning from setbacks. So if this did not happen the way I wanted it to be, let me do it in a little different way. Next time definitely I'm going to succeed the way I'm working on it. So don't repeat the same pattern next time. Try doing it a little different way. Know your inner strength. When you know about yourself, definitely you know who you are and what are your inner resources. How can you use all your inner resources to move further? Let's move further. Let us know, what are my core value check. So let's have an activity. There are various core values. Otherwise, you can use it yours, something which resonates. What Just think about two values which resonate with your own personality. You can use your own values. Could be honesty, kindness, creativity, freedom, security, growth, family, friendship, integrity, perseverance, adventure, learning, anything which comes to your mind, what are your core values? Just think about 2 of them, which you do not want to compromise upon. Let's move further. Okay, this activity takes you into your superpower moment. You could, where you were superwoman and superman. So recall a superpower moment where you actually felt really good about doing something which you felt you're proud of. You did something very well. It could be anything which happened in the past. Some achievement. It could be something which you did for others. It could be something where you felt very nice about yourself. Yes, I'm proud of you. When you can tell, we can pat your back, saying, I did it very well. I performed very well. The match was very good. I played very well. Something, just think about it if you can. Okay, once you've thought about it, chosen your superpower moment, just think, what personal quality or skills did you use in that situation? For example, there was a quarrel in the family or with anyone else. I kept my calm. So that calmness is your skill which helped you. I made a very good dish to eat and everybody praised. That could be superpower, but a very small one also. So that will. Okay. What makes that your superpower? Probably this is going deeper into it. Why do you think your calmness, your cooking skill, your patient listening, your confidence is a superpower? Probably that's your core value. Let's move next further. There are certain quotes which we'll just go through them very quickly. Know thyself. We should know before knowing others. Generally, we are into knowing everyone else and something around. Let's know ourselves, and probably when we know ourselves, we can actually work on. It's difficult to control others and situations around you. It's much easier to I'll not say control, but manage yourself. Okay, next, where you've heard this phrase a lot. We do not see things as they are. We see them as we are. So if we are calm or people who have that quality, we see others. If we are good human being, we see everyone else in the same pattern. So that's, we can always talk about when we have self knowledge, when we know our internal state, and that shapes our reality and the way we perceive everything in the environment. Can we move further, please? The unexamined life is not worth living. I mean by saying we have to introspect upon. We can never be always great. Of course, it's not possible for a human being. We are bound to make mistakes. We are bound to behave in a way where that's not our true self. So we have to introspect and find out the parts of our personality and self-reflect upon ourselves. Next, please. Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams, and dreams may or may not come true. But who looks inside awakes. And when we are awake, we can work upon our dreams. So definitely we have to be not only dreaming, but awaking and making those dreams come true. Then only, and those dreams will come true only when we know how to move further and making them come true. Nothing can dim the light the way which shines from within. You must have heard of this. If we are knowing that we are being true to ourselves, we are unique, nobody can diminish your light. No matter what people criticize about you, if you can work upon yourself and becoming a better version, of course, nobody can put you down. It's you who becomes doubtful about yourself. You become hopeless. You become starting feeling worthless. It all comes within you. With that, we end up today's session, and I hope we all have got some insight, a little more about ourselves. I'm sure we already know about ourselves, but a little more, a little deeper, some aspect which we were unaware. So thank you so much, and thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That absolutely felt like a mental detox. Absolutely. But mom, I do have a question before we move ahead asking audience questions, that how can self-awareness help break self-sabotaging patterns?
Sabotaging pattern comes when we are always trying to be critical about us or situations. So probably when we know about ourselves a little better, we can always stop criticizing everyone and us, and we can start thinking about what what can be better in that situation. How can we or others behave in a better way? And probably when we can do that, of course, we can help us and not sabotaging and rather flying and rather navigating into that situation better rather than being critical about it.
Next, we have a question from Garvita.
Now, my question is that why is it so hard to sit with our own thoughts and emotions all the time?
Because we're always comparing ourselves with others. As we just said, that the mirror which we look is it's inverted towards outside world. So we all are always looking what's happening around, what's the latest trend, what are other people doing, and when we do so, definitely we are hardly talking to ourselves, hardly listening to our own thoughts. So that is why sitting quietly, finding out our raw expression is the more difficult, because these days we are too occupied with everything happening around us. We hardly have any time to know what's happening inside. And we also keep hush hush, okay, okay, abhi ab is baare mein baat nahi karni hai, let's see what's happening around. We want to be updated with everything around the world rather than being aware of what's happening inside. So probably that's the
Thank you so much, ma'am. And I'm sure our audience is equally curious to ask ma'am questions. Starting with a question, ma'am, we have a question that says that how can I balance being self-aware without overthinking or being too critical of myself?
Okay. As we just mentioned that we talk to ourselves the most, and most of the talking is basically criticizing generally, in general speaking, and what I did not do well, how I should have been behaving in a way. Many a time we want to have that moment again so that we can do it in a different way, and mostly we are critical about ourselves. So knowing yourself doesn't mean being criticizing yourself. Of course, when you know your areas of growth and improvement, rather than criticizing it again and again, let's start working on overcoming that behavior or emotion which you're exhibiting all the time. So probably when you are aware that you get annoyed or you get anxious or you get fearful in a situation, then rather than criticizing कि अरे इस बार भी मैंने ऐसे किया, अरे ये फिर से एग्जाम आ गया और फिर से मुझे I'm having butterflies in the stomach. Of course, it will happen, but you have to reduce the frequency by knowing that this time I will not behave with that intensity. So probably if you can be a little aware of what's going to happen next and how you're going to behave, in that way you'll be a little less critical and more you'll be working on growth. So that will help you in using self-awareness for self-empowerment rather than being critical.
Thank you, ma'am. The next question by the audience is that what signs should I look for to know that my self-awareness is improving?
Oh, wonderful. Yes, that's a good question. I am working on being more aware of myself, but how will I know that it's helping me out? In that way, you are much in control of your emotions, specifically the extreme ones. We discuss about some extreme emotions. When you do not exhibit them very often, you don't show anger, show anxiety, show all other emotions which you are showing right now. They are quite neutral. That is a good sign. Also, when you are not thinking about how I did so, and you are not blaming yourself too much, and you're working on how to do in a different way next time. I did not do very well, prepare very well for that competition for exam, and that's the reason for my result. But what can I do next time? And when you start working on your plan rather than sitting in the moment and brooding upon it, that's a good sign of telling that you are self-aware.
So the question is from Himanshi. She says that on my way to find myself, I try to do everything I think I can, and I can't. But sometimes it's get very overwhelming and trying finding myself in things I never expected to see in myself. So how to overcome times like this?
Probably we get overwhelmed when we take too much on our plate. When we think that we can handle so many things at the same time and end up doing nothing. Probably that's one reason for not able to manage our emotional turmoil, manage our what's happening. And so we have to look at things one at a time. Those baby steps will always work. Rather than taking those leaps, we are bound to falter. We are bound to fall down. So if you take these baby steps and one step at a time and pat your back. Yes, I was able to. This time, थोड़ा कम गुस्सा किया था. My volume was little in control of myself. And definitely we can work. So don't think about changing overnight. It's not possible at all. But then if you are able to do them slowly, slowly, after some time you'll be able to find that yes, I am much in control of my feelings and emotions, and I'm able to work upon my areas of improvement, and that's a good sign, definitely.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the answers. So, Garvita, what a night. Actually, today wasn't just learning, it was inner learning and then relearning. Last thoughts or messages for us?
Oh, it has been an amazing interaction with all, with everybody participating so actively, and it always gives a boost. And it was wonderful interacting with you. I know you people there would go with some certain kind of insight about knowing yourself a little better, the way you know. And definitely, you can always work upon becoming the better version of yourself. There's a very famous saying that you just need to find yourself. Everything else is on Google. Of course, it is. So all those AI tools, all the virtual world can always tell everything about what's happening around you, but it can never tell what's happening inside you. That you have to do it on your own. So look, talk to yourself, know yourself a little more, and that will give you a little insight upon how can you be the best version. You are best, of course, but how can you become a better version, and how can you rock? Like we say, na, we want to rock. So you can always rock only when you know yourself and your inner values. Thank you so much. Wonderful session with all of you. And I'm thankful and I'm grateful for Anon and Miss Aarti and Miss Shami for inviting me again. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Before we drop the mic, I'd like to invite Akshita Jain, ECLF at Anon Global Foundation, for the final vote of thanks. Akshita, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Yuvika. Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you, Tripti ma'am. It was a wonderful session hearing from you back again after interns meet. Uh, to me, the topic itself in it is very amazing. The mirror within, that is in life skills. I have life skills team, and in that life skills team, we have similar topics like self-awareness and a lot of other things. And then, if you were to ask me about my opinion on the emotions that you have discussed, are pretty similar, because in that we discuss all about the angers, all about the reflections, all about the care, self-care, inner thoughts, and a lot of other things with our interns. And to be very honest, this Paathshaala's session, or the episode, I would say, would have been an encouraging session for me, and I would love to add some of the takeaways in my session as well. So it was lovely hearing from you, and I too listened have your podcast, so it was wonderful having you here. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Akshita Di. And thank you everyone for showing up, sharing, and reflecting. We hope today's mirror gave you a clearer view of your own brilliance.
Good night, everyone.